Broads Media.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. So the Eagles are getting ready for a playoff game. It's been a very strange week. I even think the Flyers have had more storylines than the Birds, and maybe it's because we're down and out. Maybe it's because we have no belief in this crew, starting with the leader of men, Nick Sirianni. It's very possible. They've been a disaster for so long that we're down, man. We're down. We are hurt. We are so disengaged because, well, we kind of see the inevitable happening, right? So this is what I'm constantly hearing, and I can't agree with it. I don't agree with it at all. So what I'm hearing is we should be rooting for the Eagles to lose so change can happen. So Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman get Nick Sirianni out of town, and they get Brian Johnson to a different city, whether he ends up taking a job in Carolina, taking a job with Tennessee. Now, he's getting interviewed for these places. It's not sealed, locked, and delivered, and he's just got to accept it or not. I don't know if I made it out to be that way. It's not the case. He's speaking to other teams, though, and it is what it is. I know that Eagles Twitter's having fun with it, saying, oh, this is the most creative mind in the world, and then tagging the Panthers, so they definitely hire him. I'm so worried about myself, and I say that meaning Eagles. I'm so worried about the Eagles and what they are and who they are that I can't even focus on who the Panthers are hiring. And I know it directly impacts the Eagles, but I just can't do it. I can't get there. There's so much wrong with Sirianni, the guy who's more important than the coordinator, Sirianni, that I'm so stuck on that angle, I can't even move off of it. And I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying I shouldn't put more of an emphasis on the coordinators. And, well, the OC's different because he's tied at the hip with the head coach and his offensive philosophy. So, yeah, the DC is sort of a head coach of the defense, and there's more willingness to rip that side of it. Regardless, here's where I'm at. I cannot root against the Eagles to lose. If they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and then go play the San Francisco 49ers, and it looks just as bad as it did against the Cardinals, against the Giants, and against some of these other teams, that win against Tampa Bay shouldn't be the difference in him keeping his job or not. Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie should, even prior to the game in Tampa, should have an understanding on do they want to move forward with this guy or not. There shouldn't be that much swinging based off of one football game. It's either you believe what he's selling or not. It's you think he could turn this around or not. And it's not really about what he did in the past. It's do you feel that he has what it takes to change the future? That's why I can't hold my hat on his track record, although there's nothing wrong with looking at somebody's resume. He's never been in this predicament before. He's never been in this problem. If I watched a head coach face adversity before, like Doug Peterson, if Doug Peterson was 5-7 after 12 games or 4-7, something horrendous, I've seen him rally the troops and go on a massive win streak. I've seen him go on an excellent run to end the season where the Eagles were the team that nobody wanted to face. Oh, the Rams, Sean McVay, no one wants to see that. No one wants to see some of these hot teams that are working some W's in January. I've seen Doug Peterson do that. Therefore, if he was coaching the Eagles hypothetically and they were 5-7 after 12, I can rely on that. Well, Nick Sirianni doesn't really have anything to show or to prove that he can get out of this funk. To be fair, he's never failed because he's never been in this opportunity before. So with this first crack at it, how can you possibly prove yourself if you've never had the chance to prove yourself before? It's a fair question. It is a fair question, and that's something that Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman have to debate internally when thinking about what their next decision is. The reason why I don't root for failure here is, one, I do believe that there's something to be said about being a sports fan, that we can't get lost in this. Either you're a Super Bowl champion or everything you do is a complete failure and screw you, and I'd rather go 0-16 than go 12-5 and make it to an NFC championship game and lose. There are people who feel like getting to the NFC championship game and losing would be worse than going 1-15 and then drafting somebody super high. I can't do that. And for some reason, this falls in a very similar category. And I'll give you another example. I've referenced this show before. I am a fan of the Michael Kay show. I think that they do a good job up there in New York. When I want to get away from the Philadelphia market, let me breathe, let me enjoy sports talk radio just for the pure enjoyment that I love, I'll go to them once in a while and I'll hit their podcast feed. And one of the things the co-host brings up, Don LaGreca, who is a big-time New York Giants fan, is the last game of the season. I know a lot of people want to sit there and root against the Giants or they get a better draft pick, but he goes, no. I love the Giants, and I want to kill the Eagles. I want them to suffer. I despise them. As a Giants fan, I grew up hating that jersey, hating the Eagles, and they are free-falling. Wouldn't it be great to put your foot in their mouth and make them suck on your feet and they don't like it, right? Just crush them, man. They're talking about firing their coach and they're bleeding out. Let's continue to bleed them out. And there's pride in that. The draft pick will fall where it falls. You can look through a draft and see someone anywhere from 15 to 30 in the first round that are magnificent, that are special, that are great. And if you're going to worry about a difference between a 5th pick or a 7th pick, a 5th pick or a 9th pick, there's talent everywhere. And the GM's job is to find that said talent. And I agree with that. I do. I think there's something as a sports fan where we got to get out of that mindset of everything's a disaster unless it's a Lombardi. I'm not saying I'm setting the bar low where it's acceptable to fail. Of course, we're going to talk about what went wrong and what needs to change and all that. It's not so black and white. And that's the problem, I think, with this society at times, is it's so extreme one way, so extreme the other. There is a way where this all makes sense. Like, I get it. I want to win a Super Bowl. I want to win a championship. That's all I care about. It is. But there's also something to be said about Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb's tenure that wasn't a failure, even though they didn't win it all. And it's a failure from that aspect, but it's not a failure with the grand scheme of things, something along those lines. Anyway, I tie that perfectly to how I feel with this circumstance. I want less questions. That's my job as a sports fan heading into a season, heading into an off season. It's about how many question marks do we have? And okay, I guess, and I even said this with Howie as well. I'm having a difficult time, I think, because it's a difficult conversation to have. But when Howie Roseman was going through his time of J.J. Arcega-Whiteside and was going through the times of Jalen Reagor, a lot of this town wanted him out of that seat. Get him out. He sucks. He's not good. He doesn't know what he's doing. And my thing was, he has had good draft picks, and he has had a lot of success with the Eagles before. He's going through a rut. And maybe you can apply this to the head coach if you're pro keeping Nick Sirianni, because it does sound similar. And that's why a lot of this is very hard to digest, because it doesn't make sense to fire a head coach like this after one bad year, but it does make sense at the same time. And you can make cases for it, cases against it, and they will all make sense. There's so many details to this equation. There's a lot of angles, and they all make sense. That's why the people who make these decisions get paid a lot of big bucks. But Howie Roseman was like public enemy number one, right? And for me, I remember laying out a scenario on Twitter at the time when I was over at the other station. And the question was, would you rather Howie Roseman figure this thing out and be one of the best general managers in the league again? Or option number two, fire Howie Roseman and get somebody else? I didn't even put a name. It was somebody else. And obviously the overwhelming majority of people said get him out of town and bring in somebody else. And to me, that logic is so crazy. Because if you have something in-house and already set in your culture. That's easier than bringing in a new GM. That guy gets a head coach. Then your coaching staff has to be right. Then all the coaches underneath of your coordinators have to be right. And now you're betting on 15 to 20 decisions being right compared to already having the most important part of your foundation being clear. If Howie is a phenomenal GM and that could have been option number one and you elect to choose the second option, it's easier if the answer is already in your building. It's better if Howie Roseman is just good at his job. And I apply that logic here. It's better if Nick Sirianni is good. If Nick Sirianni can beat Tampa, and let's say they beat the 49ers on the road, I'm not claiming they will. I don't think they will. But that's better. That's better than failing, collapsing, and then now I have more questions. Okay, I don't want more questions. And it's not a bad thing. If Nick Sirianni wins round one and wins round two, or really the first round, I look at the divisional round as the first round these days, but anyway, I know how it's set up. If they were to win both, then Nick Sirianni shouldn't be fired, and that's a good thing because that means he has answers. And if you have answers to the questions that's already in-house, sign me up. So if that took way too long to explain it, I apologize, but that's sort of my vision and my thoughts on this whole question and why I feel the way that I do. I think it makes a lot of sense. Well, thanks, bro. Oh, no problem. All right, let me tell you about my friends over at TickPick before we continue. Because there's nothing better in this world than TickPick. And if you click the link down below in the description, you will receive $10 off of your purchase. My promo code's already activated with the link, and they got the best prices guaranteed. The Flyers are electric right now. The 76ers, Joel Embiid, the Wells Fargo Center is the place to be. Make sure you join the TickPick family, and they have the best prices guaranteed. Their ticket prices beat any of the major competing marketplaces, and they are so confident about it, they guarantee it. If you find the same seats elsewhere at a better price than TickPick, you get 110% of the price difference in form of TickPick credit. You won't find anything better, though, because they truly are the best in the business. And isn't it the worst when you go and you think that you have yourself your tickets for a certain price, and then out of nowhere, here's $95 getting slapped on the end of it? You don't have that problem because TickPick has upfront pricing. No more doing math in your head and try to prepare, all right, well, how much extra is it really going to be? Because the price you see on TickPick is the price you pay at checkout. Period. End of story. There's no added service fees. There's no hidden fees or otherwise. So make sure you check it out. So how about Nick putting his stones on the table? Oh, it's going to be a walkthrough. No, it's not, boys. Put on the pads. We're having practice. Now, that's a button pushed. We'll see if there's a response. That's him trying something different, I guess. That's him setting the tone, or at least attempting to. Now, let's go, boys. It's put up or shut up time at this rate. And that's only one way to go about it. Really, that's only the way to do it. And I really can't hear much more. I'm Mr. Press Conference, all right, if you're new here. It wouldn't surprise you if I do a whole 45-minute rant on somebody's comments at a press conference. Sometimes it does move the needle for me, and I get irritated. I'll start picking apart quotes. Did he say I or did he say we? Did he say this? Did he say that? It's like, bro, shut up, man. You are going way too deep into this, and I do that for sure. I'm at the point now with this team, shut up. And I know they're obligated to speak to the media, and they have to, so obviously they will. I'm just saying, I don't give a damn what you're saying, man, Patricia. I don't give a damn what you're saying, Nick, because there's one thing you have to do at this point to put this to bed. Is go win a football game and then go seriously do something against San Fran. And I've been on the record saying this. And once again, if I feel differently in the moment, then so be it. I can only speak about how I feel right now. If they were to put up a resilient effort against San Fran on the road after beating Tampa Bay, then I don't know if it necessarily means Sirianni loses his job. I have to see what it looks like. I got to see how it plays out. the reason I'm so heavy and so hostile on the he deserves to lose his job train is if it looks the same way against Tampa as it did against these other teams to end the season, because then it shows that he truly doesn't have the belief in everyone. It's playoff football. And if you can't get your team inspired to go play playoff football, and this isn't a lack of talent issue, you have significantly more talent on your roster than anything Tampa Bay has. So just from that aspect, you should be in position to win this game. You're favored, okay? You're not an underdog, so I don't want to hear about the underdog thing. You're favored. You are supposed to win this game. Now, not a discussion for today, of course, but it seems like there's some Bill Belichick stuff and a lot of coaches. What the hell is happening in Seattle? And what happened internally there? Did he want to continue Pete Carroll to be on the sidelines? Of course, he doesn't want to be on the sidelines. Well, this thing's a whole mess. Whatever. I've kind of just scrolled through. I didn't dive too deep into it. Yeah, there's a lot of coaches leaving their respected spots. And would you want Bill? Would you not want Bill? I've said no to the Bill Belichick thing for quite some time. I'm more and more open to the conversation. I know that sounds ridiculous. I know that sounds crazy. I know the league is going younger and this and that and all that, and Bill with Mac Jones and then Zappy, and it fell apart after Tom Brady, and Tom was the magician behind it all, and yada, yada, yada. I know. I'd be willing to have a conversation. That's all. That's what I'm saying. Right now, I would be open to the dialogue. Doesn't mean I'm pushing the button. Doesn't mean it's a yes. Doesn't mean like, oh, yeah, let's run it, baby. Let's go get Bill and sign the dotted lines. I'd be willing to have a conversation about Vrabel. I'd be willing to have a conversation about some of these other coaches that could potentially be available. So it's not Bill Belichick. It's anybody. It's anybody. You can apply that to anybody if you aren't moving forward with Nick. I'm just saying that I'm willing to sit down and see what he has to say, see what it's like. I don't think the personalities will mesh. I don't think Howie Roseman and Bill Belichick, if they both want the full control, the full power, it goes against anything this front office has shown since the Chip Kelly era, because they're so unwilling to put the power back in the hands of someone who isn't Howie and who isn't Jeffrey Lurie. And yeah, and if Howie brings him in because Lurie wants him to, then I'm sure the wall goes up with Howie going, please no, don't throw me back into the closed door again like we saw with Chip. The whole thing. Anyway, that's not the conversation for today, but it is making its work around social. Hey, Bill, would it be interesting to bring in Bill? Maybe. I know our defense won't play like a little bitch. I know that. And right now, this defense plays like a little bitch. All right, we're going to go to the phones and kick things off with Sam. Let's do it.
What's going on, bros? Calling about the Eagles. Honestly, I kind of want us to lose this game so Sirianni is fired and we hire Vrabel. I mean, I think Vrabel is a better coach. He's got a more proven track record. He's just all around a better guy, more just as influential and good for the young guys. He knows how to win. He was with the Patriots all those years. He's always been one of the best coaches since he was hired in Tennessee. And Nick Sirianni, I mean, this is just a level of incompetence we haven't seen since Chip Kelly. And he's got to go. It's been said. So hopefully we lose this game because we ain't winning in San Fran. And he's fired.
Thanks, Sam. I appreciate the call. I disagree with you, but I do love hearing from you and hearing your opinion. You are a good caller. I just don't see it that way. And the whole Mike Vrabel thing, I'm going to look up his coaching stats. I think Mike Vrabel is a good football guy. I think one thing that he commands in a room is people love him. I mean, people love Mike Vrabel. People enjoy thoroughly playing for Mike Vrabel. No doubt about it. Okay, so he went 6-11 this year. He went 7-10 the year before. He's working with the Ryan Tannehill vibe. He's got Derrick Henry, which I don't know how far you can go, even though we've never seen anything like Derrick Henry. He is a machine, and those numbers are whoa. It doesn't make any sense. A very unique style of play that you had to pursue as a team in an era where it's very pass happy. Did that limit him? There's plenty of questions to wonder about and all that, but obviously an offensive mind speaks differently than the defensive mind would. Anyway, He went 12-5 in 2021 and 11-5 in 2020. Those were his best 2 seasons. 9-7, 9-7 to start his coaching career. So that's not too bad for your first 2 years to go 9-7 twice. Then he finally gets a couple of double-digit wins in a row. The proven track record thing, I guess, is more sort of where I'm at. I can't say that he's got more of a proven track record. Maybe there's more respect because of what he's done in this league. And guys know he's put in the time, he's put in the work and all. That didn't seem to have a problem with Nick Sirianni last year, though. I don't think anybody discredited Nick Sirianni for not having Mike Vrabel's playing career last season. I like Mike Vrabel, and I think that he's going to be a good coach, and I got no problem with Mike Vrabel. This is no shot on him. I actually think that Nick Sirianni's first year and last year, though, there's a lot to it that you're not giving him enough credit for. Nick did do things, all right? I don't like saying that he didn't do anything. All that happened was Shane Steichen. I think Shane Steichen clearly had an impact. I think he was very good at that role. He can clearly feel a game out on the sidelines. Brian Johnson as the QB coach, where there was less on his plate from an offensive standpoint, and he was able to work one-on-one with Jalen Moore, that seemed to click as well. The pieces were in place, but Nick had a role, and Nick did a good job. He did a good job last year. It didn't automatically not be a good job anymore. I didn't agree with the flower speech, and the problem might be he doesn't have a lot in his bag, meaning he's got one trick. If the flower speech worked once, it was so corny, it was so brutal, it was getting made fun of by the media, and I think maybe the fans' reaction had the locker room come together. We have our coaches back. They're mocking him. They're making fun of him. We got to do this. I wouldn't be surprised if that was an angle. Then maybe that tells you that, well, that means Sirianni doesn't really have what it takes. He doesn't really have a fingertips on things. It's really just how bad it was and how pathetic and embarrassing it was. The team rallied behind that. But you can't go to that well 5 times. You can't go to that well 7 times. How many times can a professional head coach use that speech and then it work and click? I know I'm just kind of shooting down my own theory here that Sirianni did good things last year, but it worked. It worked. He brought the team to the Super Bowl and was 2 quarters away from winning it. He did something right during that time. He connected and it worked. It's not now, but he did have that. And that resume for him, and I know I'm disregarding it for the future, but when you're comparing it to a resume of Mike Vrabel, which is where this conversation is targeted, Sirianni's respectable. Should be more respected. I think so. All right. Let me try and gain my thoughts back before we hit another call here. And there's only one way to do that. It's by expressing my love for HelloFresh. And if you don't know what HelloFresh is, well, it's the greatest thing to ever happen in my life outside of my wife and my child. But you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients, seasonal recipes that are delivered right to your doorstep. So there's no such thing as going to the grocery store anymore. HelloFresh delivers the food right to your doorstep. It's pre-portioned. It's ready to cook. There's step-by-step recipe cards. You can't screw it up. And it has made me a 5-star restaurant-style chef. You can't screw it up. Pour cheese on food. Pour this in pan. Pour this on food. It's so simple. And it's rip the bag open and pour that amount. You don't got to measure it. None of that. It's so perfect. And you always get stuck in these standard weekday schedules. We're having tacos. We're having chicken. We're having meatloaf. It's one after the next, and then you do that for 10 years. Well, see, there's over 40 recipes to choose from every week with HelloFresh, so there's always something new to discover, and it's 25% less expensive than takeout. So it doesn't get much easier than this. Fellas, ladies, go to HelloFresh.com/50broads and use code 50broads for 50% off plus free shipping. That's code 50broads for 50% off plus free shipping. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. Back to the phones we go.
Midweek, looking forward to this game on Monday, honestly. I don't know how I am, but at this point, man, anybody's got a puncher's chance. I'm trying to talk myself into being optimistic about what we possibly could do. I believe we're going to beat Tampa Bay, even though I have no evidence over the past 6 weeks that will lead me to believe so, but I think they're gonna do what it takes to at least win that game, and hopefully the chips fall where they may. We got to go to San Fran or Dallas, and see what happens there. But, they got to get it figured out. They have to do something. And truthfully, I think we have the vets on the team to kind of at least overcome this incompetent coaching staff.
I don't know how far that can go, though, if your coaching staff is incompetent. And I'll save this for a little bit more as we lead into the game. And it comes down to coaching in this one. You have to have Nick Sirianni outcoach Todd Bowles all week long. And if that's not happening, then you're not winning this football game. What I hope happens is this. It's not so much desperation, but it's meeting the intensity. It's playoff football now. There's no more resting on your morals. There's no more being convinced that you're safe because you have a playoff spot locked in, so it doesn't matter if you play some teams that you should beat. It's unacceptable at this rate. You have to perform. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Maybe there was a safety valve behind the squad because they knew that they were good. No, it pisses me off because you let a number one seed slip and the analytics tell you if you have the number one seed and you have the bye and everything comes through your house, you have a way higher chance of reaching the ultimate goal. So because you decided, some bad teams are on our schedule, screw you. You ruined a big-time opportunity that could be the difference in you hoisting the Lombardi or not. I just wonder if if it kicks in. There's no tomorrow. You truly lose this game, and you are done. The season's wrapped up. Get out of here. And there's only a little bit of time left for Jason Kelce. Who knows how much time is left for some of these other vets? Do it for the fellas. Do it for the fellas that wore this jersey for a long-ass time, and they don't know how much time they got left to do it. We'll see. We'll see how Nick Sirianni tries to handle this, but he's going with Tommy Toughnuts with the practice. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's fine. Maybe the locker room smells out fugazi, though. All right, Nick, we know you're not Mr. Tough Guy. All right, oh, wow, how convenient. The second that Javon Hargrave tells the world that it's a country club in South Philly at the NovaCare complex, he decides to put his big boy pants on and react to it. Now, this could be a negative towards Nick Sirianni. He always says he's open-minded. He's always said he's willing to hear criticism. Is this him actually taking criticism from Hargrave out of a podcast? And is it right to? What if this is actually good? What if it actually changes Sirianni as a coach and he's willing to put the foot down harder and he's willing to put the stamp down harder and he's willing to be more of a tough guy when needed because he heard Javon Hargrave? Then is it a bad thing if he listened? Or you see it's similar to the Matt Patricia and the defensive coordinator thing. Well, it was media driven, said Brandon Graham, and he says that right as soon as Nick Sirianni said he's willing to hear criticism. Well, I hope to God that he didn't make that decision because of the fans being angry, because you can't react like we react. That'll put you in a bad spot. Our job is to react like this. You get paid a lot of money to not, all right, and to make logical, detailed decisions. And it hasn't really been that way. So can they win? They should be able to. Their talent's better. They should be able to. But until I see it, I won't believe it. Doesn't mean it's impossible, though. They should be able to win this game. Yes, they should be able to. But I don't know if they will. Oof. Oh, it's nutty. Okay, let's rock with Sean.
Hunter, did you ever think 6 or 7 weeks ago that it would turn out to be this bad? So bad that your coach does the ultimate give up and pulls his starters at the end of the first half? The ultimate white flag. The ultimate we surrender. In retrospect, Sirianni should have done it before the game because you end up getting A.J. Brown injured in the process. So now you go into the Tampa game with gimping receivers and a team that just has zero confidence. This season is done. This coach and or coaching staff needs to be fired at the final whistle of this game. It's totally embarrassing to even represent the Eagles as a fan now. To walk around in public with the jersey on, your bumper stickers, whatever, to say you're an Eagle fan, you're met with laughter, ridicule, and scorn. And rightfully so. Jeff Lurie and Howie Roseman are to blame for all this. They are the puppeteers, and the coaches and players are the puppets. And we as the fans are the ultimate suckers because every week we hope for better, and every week it gets worse and worse and worse. just when you thought the Cardinal debacle was bad, you get left with this. And you go gimping and limping into Tampa to watch Baker Mayfield beat you and send you packing. Thanks for nothing, Philadelphia.
Wow. Mic drop, Sean. Mic drop. I don't even know where to go from there. Obviously, that was right after the Giants game, but you are embarrassed to be an Eagles fan. And it's hard to even say anything otherwise. How many of you have friends that are fans of other teams and friends around the country that have been shredding you into pieces? What the hell is going on over there? Dude, you were boasting for a long time. Your team stinks. Your team's frauds. And you just have to go, yup. How many New York Giants fans were texting, yup, yup, yup. I agree. I co-signed. You're correct. I can't even argue against it. Every single phrase that goes, I am with you with those statements about my team, you say it. And it's very sad. And it's a sad spot to be. It's very sad that we are here. I want to be projecting 4 or 5 weeks of Eagles football, where this thing doesn't end. Unfortunately, I believe it's going to end rather soon. Ew. Oh, God. Should I take one more call? I feel bad. Because I want to do my best. I promise you all I do my best every single show, every single day to pop in as many callers as possible. You're spending the time to do it. I want to get to you. But this one's not playing for some reason. So we'll go to a different one.
Bros, this is Thomas from Texas.
Hey, Thomas.
Long-time Eagles fan. What the fuck did I just watch, man?
Garbage.
It was so bad watching that in front of a bunch of Dallas Cowboys fans. Us getting our ass beat against the fucking Giants. Just so fucking embarrassing, bro. No momentum going into the playoffs. We're going on the road to Tampa. I would not be surprised if fucking hurt Baker Mayfield just fucking beats us downright, bro. This team is just sad right now. Jalen broke his fucking finger, it looks like. AJ with the knee, bro. It's just so hard to watch this team right now, bro. I'm sad right now. Go Birds, baby.
All right, ending with the Go Birds. I don't know how you watch that game with Cowboys fans. And I know he said he was from Texas. I'd say get the hell out of my house, or I'm not going to anybody else out. No, I'm watching alone. I am not now. Am I going to sit in your presence, you son of a... that's how I would react to it. That's just me personally, though. Everyone's entitled to their own way. I apologize for ending this show on such negative light. I guess that's not my fault, though. No. I can't put the blame on me. That would let everybody off the hook in that NovaCare complex. It's their fault, not mine, their fault. All right, everybody, I love you guys to death. I appreciate all your support, and I will see you on the next one.